right, good evening. Going to go ahead and call to order this called meeting of the Bristol, Virginia City Council for December the 9th, 2019. Please join me in a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. So we've got a good crowd tonight, and I'm glad to see that. I'm glad everyone is interested. So if you have never been here before and you wanted to speak, there were sign-up sheets in the back. Are there still more sign-up sheets back there? Are there still more of these? There. Okay. If you want to sign up and you didn't, there's a sign-up sheet back there. So basically, the way this will work for the public comment on this, when you come up to the podium, there's a little green light, and it'll come on, and you have 3 minutes to speak. And when you're almost out of time, it'll turn yellow. And when your time is up, it'll turn red. And if you could just wrap it up, then that'd be good. So we'll go into the first item on the agenda, which is consider resolution supporting citizens' rights. Staff report.
Council, tonight before you is a resolution supporting constitutional rights of all citizens in the city of Bristol, Virginia. This resolution states that the city of Bristol supports every constitutional right that is granted to us either through the U.S. Constitution, the Constitution of Virginia, or through the court process as derived through legal action.
Thank you very much. Public comment. So first person signed up is Mr. Waterman.
I went to the second line. Basically, I'm in favor of the Second Amendment sanctuary city article, and that basically it's as simple as this. Other than the fact that the Constitution gives us the right to have guns, both the Virginia and the federal Constitution, then all I can say is if they pass this law, it's an unconstitutional act. And there's more, these red flag laws are the worst things that could possibly come down the pike because the person has their rights are totally violated. They come take their guns and then they take them to, then they show up in court. So over a rumor from somebody who says, oh, he's got a problem or she's got a problem. But I'm going to be brief. I was thinking John was going to be here tonight and he would talk a little bit more. As you well know, I talked about socialism last time, and the only thing left of the socialist agenda is to take our guns. It didn't work out too well for Venezuela, and it's sure not working out too well for Hong Kong, and it sure as hell won't work out too well for us. So, as I said, I'm totally in favor of passing this amendment or our Second Amendment resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Michael Pollard.
Thank you, gentlemen of the council. My name is Michael Pollard. I live at 101 Ashley Drive. Many of those present are concerned about certain stated intentions of state legislators with their intentions to remove and counteract many of our rights which are guaranteed in the Constitution. Unfortunately, the proposed resolution as it's termed, supporting the constitutional rights of citizens, in my opinion, misses the point. It seems to fall under the general description that I apply to many state and federal legislation, resolutions and ordinances that are well-intentioned, but which are handled in a manner that only serves to make people feel better without actually achieving the intended objective. The Virginia Citizens Defense League, which has as its primary purpose to protect the rights of the residents of the state of Virginia specifically, has drafted a proposal which has in large effect been accepted by many of our neighbors. I have, if you'd like me to provide them, a copy of the resolution that, as it was accepted by our neighbors in Washington County. And I have also submitted a proposal which adapts the additional paragraphs that were recommended by the city attorney, which adds to that and makes it, in my opinion, much stronger by adding the oath of office as taken by each of the members of city council. But this proposal does in fact specify the portions of both the U.S. and the state constitutions. So it is very specific in its intent. And unfortunately, the proposal as worded would not have the city take any actions until a specific act is declared as unconstitutional by a court. And unfortunately, if a court in the other end of the state decides that they want to allow our constitutional rights to be trampled, then whose word are you going to take? One over there or one over here that says that the laws are in fact unconstitutional? I would rather protect the very clearly stated rights as given in the Virginia Constitution. And the proposal does include protections for those specifically enumerated rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Charlie Thomas.
Good evening. My name's Charlie Thomas. I'm Michael's neighbor. I live at 111 Ashley Drive. I've lived in the city all my adult life for the most part. I sent all you guys an email yesterday pretty much outlining exactly what Mr. Pollard said. I do not think this resolution is on point. I think it's a way to do something without actually doing something. And the question here is not our constitutional rights in general. They're not talking about taking away our First Amendment rights or our Fourth Amendment rights or our 18th Amendment rights. They're talking about taking away our Second Amendment rights. And I think if we're going to pass a resolution, it needs to address that. And I think the turnout here tonight, you know, most people don't get too excited about stuff. And I've been to a few of these meetings and there's not always a lot of people here. I think this turnout shows that the citizens of this community feel the same way, and I hope that the council will take action on that, reconsider what they're going to put forth and vote on it favorably.
Thank you very much. All right, Matt Jesse.
Good evening. I'm Matt Jesse from 168 Elbert Way. Both the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution as well as the Virginia State Constitution state that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Looking at the proposed legislation, SB 16, in part states that it's unlawful for any person to purchase, possess, or transport an assault firearm. For the purposes of this bill, this includes any semi-automatic rifle or pistol with a magazine capacity over 10 rounds and has one of a whole laundry list of cosmetic features such as a telescoping stock, a pistol grip, or a threaded barrel. It also includes any semi-automatic shotgun that has similar cosmetic features and either a detachable magazine or a fixed magazine that holds over 7 rounds. None of these features affect the lethality of these firearms. According to a 1988 report by the VPC, which is an anti-gun lobbying group, assault weapons' menacing looks, coupled with the public's confusion over fully automatic machine guns versus semi-automatic assault weapons, can only increase the chance of public support for restrictions on these weapons. This strategy came to fruition with the federal assault weapons ban of '94. This ban was very similar to the proposed legislation, banning firearms that have a magazine over 10 rounds as well as certain cosmetic features. In 2004, this ban expired, and a 2004 Department of Justice report concluded, should it be renewed, the ban's effects on gun violence are likely to be small at best and perhaps too small for reliable measurement. Furthermore, murder rates were 19.3% higher while the federal assault weapons ban was in effect. In recent years, after the expiration of that ban, total violent crime and murder has fallen to near historic lows, while ownership of the firearms and magazines that gun control supporters want banned has risen to all-time highs. These so-called assault weapons are commonly used by hunters and competitive shooting sportsmen and are quite often provided with magazines with capacities over 10 rounds. Banning firearms because of their cosmetic features or magazine capacity is both misguided and unconstitutional. The Supreme Court case of D.C. versus Heller upholds that any firearms that are in common use at the time are protected under the Second Amendment. Limiting the available firearms for law-abiding citizens is doing nothing but illegally reducing the available firearms to be in common use, therefore allowing more restrictions on these firearms to be upheld by this test by outlawing them. As a summary, gun control at its core is unconstitutional, illegal, and ineffective, and there's no reason that the City of Bristol should use its municipal resources to enforce the unconstitutional gun laws that are currently being proposed in Richmond.
Thank you very much. All right, that was the last person signed up for public comment, so we'll move to the reading of the resolution. All right. The City of Bristol City Council has received input from citizens expressing concerns about potential legislation that may be enacted by the 2020 General Assembly session, which could infringe on the rights of citizens of the Commonwealth. This resolution is intended to respond to the concerns of all citizens. Whereas in the City of Bristol, we believe in the rule of law and support the Constitution of the United States, including the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of Virginia in their entirety. And whereas each member of the City Council has taken an oath which states, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a member of the City Council for the City of Bristol, Virginia, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. And whereas the City Council takes this oath of office very seriously and actively works to protect all rights guaranteed by both the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Virginia. And whereas the City Council enacts ordinances for the city to the extent authority has been specifically granted by the General Assembly. We have limited authority to pass laws, but we fully use our authority to protect and defend the rights of our citizens. And whereas the City Council is neither a law enforcement entity nor responsible for prosecutions, law enforcement in the city is entrusted to the Bristol, Virginia Police Department and Sheriff. Prosecution of criminal cases are handled by the Commonwealth's attorney, who is elected by the citizens. Finally, and most importantly, the City Council has no judicial authority. Interpretation and determination of the constitutionality of laws is performed by courts and of competent jurisdiction, either at the state or federal level. And whereas this resolution affirms our support for the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Virginia, and sends a clear message to our legislators and all elected officials that we respect our citizens' rights, whether those rights are explicitly stated in either Constitution or derived from decisions of the court process. Now therefore be it resolved this 9th day of December 2019 by the City Council of Bristol, Virginia, that the City Council urges our delegates, senators, and the governor to oppose the passage of any state laws that infringe upon the rights of the law-abiding citizens of the Commonwealth and rights derived from the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Virginia. That the City Council hereby expresses its intent to uphold all the rights of law-abiding citizens of the City of Bristol, Virginia, and that the City Council hereby declares its intent to oppose any infringement on the rights of law-abiding citizens. Be it further resolved that the City Council requests that a copy of this resolution be provided to the General Assembly members, representing the city of Bristol and to the governor of Virginia.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve from Mr. Farnham,
I second that.
a second from Mr. Wingard. Is there any council discussion?
Well, I'm going to say that, I'm glad that Bristol's taking a stand. I would like to see this wording a little stronger and have some meat behind it. But unfortunately, the city has found itself in a position that that's not the case. If it had a whole lot of meat to it, it wouldn't have no chance of getting passed. So this is what we're here with tonight. So that's my comments.
Well, I'll make some additional comments. I took additional oath. I was a career military person. So I took an oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States and against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I intend to uphold that oath. So to me, it doesn't matter what's written on a piece of paper. Right? I know what I'm going to do when someone tries to infringe on our Second Amendment rights, because I took a sworn oath and I'm still under that sworn oath. And there's no doubt in my mind what I'm going to do, and people in this room know me, and they know me very well. So we can play on words, we can make it stronger, we can make it less strong, but the bottom line is we are not going to allow the government to infringe tyrannically on our rights, period. It's not going to happen.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing about the crowd here tonight. This is a really good turnout. Mr. Thomas, you touched on how many people came out tonight. For the folks who don't normally come, or maybe it's your first time here, you chose to come down here tonight. You changed your evening plans, your dinner plans. Maybe your family is at home and you're here, and you came to speak or sit and listen and be present about an issue that's important. Maybe if you go to speak in Washington, D.C., I don't know how many folks would listen to you there, but here in Bristol, Virginia, you can come and speak, and literally the shape of our city, the direction of our city can be guided, can be changed by you coming here to speak to us about what's important. And we up here we're elected by you all. So it's not just about what we think, it's about you all. So for the ones who don't normally come, or it's your first time here, you're always welcome here, you're always welcome to speak. Now as for this, when everyone's ready, I'm ready for this and ready to vote and vote yes on this.
I'll just kind of second a lot of what's been said. I appreciate everyone coming out. It's rare we get a crowd this big and this enthusiastic over to see something come up. And, I understand your concerns. A lot of us do with what the General Assembly might do. Hopefully this, along with everything else people are doing throughout the Commonwealth, will give them pause as they consider their legislation, realizing that there's a lot of people out there that don't want to see what's been proposed come to pass. So I'm more than happy to support this.
So I'll close out and say, I appreciate everybody in here is passionate about this issue, and I'm glad to see it. I really am, to see this many people come out. And not only are there people who are passionate about this here in the city, there are people who are passionate about it all over Southwest Virginia and the rest of the state. So it's good to see public engagement like this on something you feel strongly about. So thank you to all of you for being here and for being engaged and being involved. I do think that this, along with the other resolutions that have been passed in neighboring counties, they're all a little bit different. They all have some different things that they say, but they all have the common thread running through them that your rights shouldn't be infringed upon. And I think that's an important message to send, whether it be about the Second Amendment, and in this case it is, or whether it be about any other freedom or right that you have that's enumerated or not enumerated. It's important to respect the rights that we have. So with that, is there any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Farnum.
Yes.
Mumpower.
Yes.
Wingard.
Yes.
Hartley.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes. All right. So the next item we have is, go ahead. So next item is closed session. Closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 Code of Virginia 1950 is amended. Discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body personnel. Looking for a motion and a second.
I move we enter executive session for the reasons stated.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Hartley, second from Mr. Farnum. Please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Mumpower.
Yes.
Wingard.
No.
Hartley.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes. All right, we are back. By roll call vote, council members certify that only business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements as specified in the motion to convene an executive session were discussed. Please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Mumpower.
Yes.
Wingard.
Abstain.
Hartley.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes. All right. Item 2, consider resolution of consent to personnel action. No public comment on this item. Reading of resolution. We hereby consent to the personnel action recommended by the city manager and order the manager to put a copy of this resolution in the personnel file of the employee approved this 9th day of December 2019. Looking for a motion and a second.
I move that we adopt the resolution.
Second.
All right, motion from the vice mayor and second from Mr. Farnum. If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Farnum.
Yes.
Mumpower.
Yes.
Wingard. No. Hartley.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes. We stand adjourned.